Hello everyone, my name is Mike Fiki and I am Senior Director for Enrollment and Admissions at Parsons Paris, and I'm very glad to be talking to you today about study options in the USA. And this is through a personal experience, my own personal journey to the US as a third culture student who was fascinated with America and who wanted to study in the US. For students considering the USA, generally searches go to the East and West Coasts, large and well-known cities, and I saw that as a student myself. I want to focus my discussion here on undergraduate education, which is full-time and degree pursuing. This means for students who are finishing up high school, secondary school, and are heading to start their college education, university studies in the US, and plan to graduate after they complete their degrees. Most students are looking at public or private four-year institutions, but I want to mention community colleges, which you may have heard of, and those generally offer two-year degrees and either prepare students for job immediately after or allow students to apply to larger universities and transfer their credits to other programs and to other universities. They tend to be smaller and more affordable than four-year universities. The report we looked at earlier, called Open Doors, mentioned that about 79,000, to be precise, 79,187 international students out of more than 1 million at the US at the time of the report were enrolled in this type of college. It could be a good financial decision to start at the community college and then transfer to a larger school, but then first you want to make sure that this community college has programs that allow you to obtain a US visa if you do not have a US passport or permanent resident, and also allow you to transfer to those larger schools. And also, if you have a specific larger school in mind, that this larger school will take transfer credits, will admit students to years beyond the first or second year, because some schools, especially the more selective ones, may really be at capacity as of the sophomore year. So those are some questions that you really want to ask yourselves if you're looking into community colleges. Another important question that you may really want to ask is, will this two-year equivalent, if you plan to just take this degree after 2 years from a community college and go back to your home country, what kind of equivalent will this be or will this have in your home country? These are questions that you could either reach out to what is called an equivalency office at the Ministry of Higher Education or whatever you may call it where you are, or you may want to ask this directly to the admission counselor you may be contacting at the community college, saying, listen, for this kind of degree, what is the equivalent? What kind of diploma will I get? What exactly will the diploma say? So these are things you really want to find out before. And then you have traditional four-year private or public universities. And for the sake of concerns of international students, really what you need to differentiate here is that between private and public is that sometimes tuition fees might be lower in public universities or in state universities, and especially for students who live in that specific state, they may be larger. So those are things that you want to consider and keep in mind. Private universities tend to have tuition fees that do not differentiate between these categories of students who live in the state and out of the state. The US students, those who qualify for federal financial aid, may have equal access to those schools. One thing you do want to consider, though, if you're applying to a state university, a public university, or a private university, you want to ask, what kind of scholarship access do I have? Do I qualify for merit scholarships, meaning based on your academic performance, or if these schools require auditions or portfolios, or is there need-based? Is there financial aid in the US sense of financial aid? So those are some of the kinds of questions that you want to bring in general to any school you're applying to in the US. Do you need to speak perfect English to attend a university in the US? My simple answer is no, because a lot of universities, if not all of them, admitting international students from outside the US would have ESL, English as Second Language programs or writing programs, and will start even preparing you for many of them before you arrive on campus. However, I feel that committing to learning English while in the US, to really starting to read in English, write in English, understanding English, getting that fluency in English will really help you a lot. To conclude, if you have questions, inquiries, and concerns, or if you just want to know more, reach out to universities that may interest you. US universities tend to be quite responsive, and they put forth a lot of information and resources online. Some of this could be videos, some of this could be a chat box, some of these could be office hours, or just a simple email. Take advantage of that. A lot of universities have what they call discover days, open houses, open hours. Those tend to be very informative. You may come with your guardians, you may come with your counselors, your tutors, you may ask questions. Come prepared with a list of questions. You may find out more about things that you may have never thought about from panels, from discussion groups. Those tend to be quite helpful. I want to conclude also with a comment as someone who was an international student in the USA and someone who is now a higher education professional at a US university, and that is, American higher education institutions are very welcoming, and the US is really a great option for students and continues to welcome a lot of students. And this is really important to take into account because a lot of these universities you may be looking at may be very well prepared to receive you, may have had a lot of international students, and even if that's not the case, you may again go back to my example, you may stand out in very positive ways and gain a lot of opportunities from being among the small set of international students applying and being admitted to this school. I really hope that you found this helpful.